Good afternoon. Married at 12 years old. I don't know if you heard this situation from Missouri. It was a recent discussion in the uh, legislature um, about the legal age in which a person can get married with parental consent. And this Missouri State Senator, Michael Moon, stated that he was for um, children getting married with parental consent at the young age of 12 because he knew someone who was married at the age of 12. And his defense for his stance of this type of activity was that they are still married and their marriage is thriving. Now, apparently on Twitter, there is more explanation from Mr. Moon on this particular issue. Why he believes this is a viable idea to entertain, to have codified into law. I suppose there are many others who also believe this garbage. I find it horrific. I'm a father of 3 daughters, and to think that I would be able to basically give them away to marry anybody, young, old, who knows. There were stories across the internet during the Taliban times of young women being married to older men. All the time. You saw it, this was a cultural thing. Is that right? Is the concept that Mr. Moon is agreeing to right? There has to be laws. Of course, there has to be laws. People cannot govern themselves. They're unable to do that. There are some people who are just good people and will not offend or cause problems. That's not everyone, unfortunately. And the ones that do, usually the minority, as I've said many, 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 many times, they cause such harm that there has to be a law. I think there was a cartoon strip that's, ought to be a law. There ought to be a law for this. There ought to be a law for that. And in many cases, you know, it was ridiculous. But sadly, the ridiculous comes back to haunt us. And in this case, for this man, this Mr. Moon, to promote the idea that a 12-year-old, I don't care about the parental issue here, they should not be given, in marriage to anybody. Now, in this case, Mr. Moon's example was impregnated, was apparently raped at 12 years old. Does that happen? Of course it does. Are people all good? No, of course they're not. Do they do things like this? Yes. But to give this child away for whatever reason the parents had, because it's legal, it's wrong. It should not be presented as right. It is not right. This is my opinion. There are obvious people that believe in this stuff. Mr. Moon was one. And there are many others who believe in it too, I'm sure. There's, in days gone by, Women were married off at, any age. They just were. Women had no rights. Women were not even citizens. They weren't second class citizens. They weren't citizens. They were sold by their parents, or could be sold by their parents. Not everybody loves their children. Laws are to protect the citizenry, not to take advantage, not to give advantage. Although laws are not always fair, as we all know, laws are made by human beings, and they are flawed. But it is the system we have. But to promote something like this at that young age is just wrong. Giving away children at 12 years old to be married to some old cracker is wrong, or to a young cracker, or just a cracker. It's wrong, just plain wrong. I'm not sure if I made myself clear, but it's wrong. Why is it wrong? Because it's harmful to that child. That child doesn't know how to deal with it. Now, will a child survive? I'm sure. In the majority, children survive. They do adapt. There are children much younger on the streets in America, and especially in other countries, that are just living on the streets, very young. They have no option. Live or die. That's as crude as it is. We should not even be contemplating things like this in this country we live in. Children need to be protected. I'm a father of three daughters, and to think that I would have the power, that I would disrespect them in many ways. Oh, well, we'll secure their future because they don't know what the heck they're doing. They need someone to give away the child. It's not that far distant. But Fiddler on the Roof, an old play, movie, talk to this issue. There's no perfect way in a society to promote the well-being of the citizenry, but to promote that type of control over a person is just wrong. Now, I'm not going to defend it scripturally or philosophically or whatever. I mean, I just find it unconscionable. You may agree with me, you may not. But women have been abused for thousands of years. They get by, and some even rule, not the majority. And in some households, they make fun, it's you have to make the wife happy so that the family is happy. It's to give something, some kind of credit of influence and power. It's not a right thing to be. It's not a right thing to contemplate. Women are not to be used in such a manner. And these gentlemen, this Mr. Moon, didn't talk about men being given away at 12, but girls. Again, it's always that's the majority of focus, but men could be given away at a young age as well. Parents sold their children, sold them because they needed. People had multiple children. Why? Because they wanted the buffer. They needed a number of children. In years gone by, there was a heck of a high infant mortality rate. You had to have 13, 14, 15 children. And if you had too many, you gave them away. In some cultures, there was infanticide. They killed children, especially girls. Society isn't pure. And people like Mr. Moon don't apparently don't give it much thought. Because whatever his cause, whatever his rationale, whatever his reasoning is for this type of support of parental rights, you give life to a child. You give life to a child. You are not ruling the child. You are influencing, directing, furthering their, and giving as much as you can so they can be the best person they can. You give what you can. My father worked 3 jobs. Other people don't work at all. There's no one way or the other. But we strive to do what is right. Think about what is right. And giving children away at 12 years old, supporting that is not right. You can agree or not, but I find it unconscionable. People like that are representing 100,000 people in the state legislatures. Do those people want that kind of person in there? I don't know. Is there a way around this that's easy, quick, guaranteed to be successful? I doubt there are. Anyway, think about it. It's wrong. That's just the way it is. It's wrong. Take care. If you want to put a like down or subscribe to this video channel, please do. Send it off to friends, neighbors, whatever. But there's no issue here for me. They talk about these red lines, all these red lines that have, well, it's just wrong. Take care. Have a good day. All right, bye for now.